happening, everybody? It's Ike from Flipside Music with a little bit less reverb this time.
Yeah.
Just a wee bit. I'm here with
Dylan,
who's also a little bit less reverb today, too. We're also in a more yellow environment, feels like.
Yeah.
What I'm seeing on the camera, I'm like, it looks a little bit more yellow.
Not as much sunlight, so not as much neutral.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out what to do.
Yeah.
Put up a little sound absorption back there. I think you guys could hear it because we can hear it.
Yeah, it's definitely a little less blowback, at least from that direction.
Yeah, less boomy. So we're working on stuff. I'm waiting on sound panels, which
among other things,
jump right into the update.
Right.
As you guys saw last week, you saw the room, but I'm waiting on some sound panels. We're going to build some sound absorption panels to put in here to really make this room still sound lively, but
not as echoey.
Yeah, we got to knock that
down.
We
got built-in rockabilly delay, so
yeah,
built-in slapback. Call this the slapback room. Everyone walks in while we're doing stuff. They smack.
Yeah. What's he doing? Slapback. Oh, all right. So we, if you're new here, weekly question answer show, new space. We're still getting it going. Old flag.
Yeah,
still going. All right. So we're gonna jump right in with Ben Coombs, our preferred Canadian YouTuber, asks us what is your favorite tube amp that's 10 watts or under?
Well, I don't think it's cheating if the amp goes at least down to 10 watts or below. So even if it edges outside of that, if it at least attenuates down to that, I think it still counts. So I'm going to say the Mark V, because the Mark V will go down to 10 watts. So even though it's a 90 watt amp, it'll go down to 10 watts, and it's an amazing 10 watts. All 10 watts
I'm
is
not
amazing.
sure if all that counts. There might have to be an asterisk next to that answer, but...
Hey, he wasn't real firm with that question, so...
Yeah, I didn't know that we really have to incredibly define some of the questions. So, I don't know, 10 watts is tough. The new Harmonies, the H605, that's a pretty cool sounding amp. So that's brand new on the market. So check it out from Harmony, made in a factory.
Harmonyville?
Yeah, made by Harmony in a factory.
Yeah, it's just made by it's just sound that just coalesces into an amp.
So Harmony guitars are made in Kalamazoo.
Correct.
In the old Gibson factory.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the amps are there.
I don't know where they're doing the amps. That's why I was like, before I say anything, let me just be very generic.
We'll find out for the next time because I'm sure we'll be demoing those probably in here soon.
We're going to try.
Yeah.
Once we get a little bit more.
Right.
Another really cool one is the Gretch 5222. Little tiny guy. It's basically like the Fender 600. But a very cool little amp. If you can find one, they're pretty available. You can get them for like $250, $200 sometimes. They got a wee little speaker in them. I suggest put a better tube in it and put a better speaker in there. Weber makes a really good speaker that for that little amp. I got one, that's why I'm saying. But Weber makes a good 8-inch speaker for it, and it actually sounds really good, and it's a small little guy. It's a lot of fun.
Our Champ's got to be under 10, right? Because Princeton's are only like 12. So a Champ's got to be under 10, or at least...
No, it's 15, isn't it?
I'm not sure. But
I thought they were 15.
If Champs are under 10, then I'm going to go Champ, because I actually really do. Like, anytime we've ever had any of those little silver-faced Champs come through,
they do sound
those
really
always
good.
sound good for what they are. I mean, it's real basic, but they sound good. And then the
Mini
Greer
Chief?
Super Chief, or Mini Chief.
Mini Chief, I was going to say, the Greer one. That's
Super
really,
Chief.
Super Chief.
Yeah, that one's a good one. But yeah, if we're gonna cheat, I'm gonna say Mesa Boogie Mark V because the 25 and the 90 watt both go down to 10 watts, and that was actually for a long time. That was where I had to use mine before I had a better space. So
before those people next door moved.
yeah.
All right, so moving on. Next,
Mr. Colin James, this is a good question actually. What is your go-to song when trying out a new guitar? So like, what's the first song you usually see? Because I feel like depending on the guitar, I have different ones. Because if it's a Strat, I have like a particular set of songs. Obviously, the other ones for like anything double humbuckery.
Yeah. I'd say Careless Whisper. That's my go-to song. I never know.
It's Dust in the Wind.
It's feeling, God. No, that's not how it goes. I don't know if I have a specific song, but I do have some kind of specific licks, I think, or riffs that I would play depending on the guitar. If I'm playing a Les Paul, it's going to be a little bit different than if I'm playing a Strat or a Tele. So it's really hard to say that it'd be one specific song, at least for me.
Yeah, Rock Bottom from UFO. That tends to be like my double. Like if
That's
it's a
totally and it
yeah,
has been for
forever.
For a long time.
It's a good one though because like if the guitar can't roll through that riff, it's like if it can't get through that riff, it can't do what I need it to do. Because like anything for me, like a lot of it comes. That song for me is more about testing the action than just about anything. Because if it buzzes on that song, then it's not great because it's like midway through.
Yeah, because you're kind of getting after it too.
Yeah, and you can really dig into it, and then it's fast. So like if if it's not a nimble neck, you'll know pretty quick. So that tends to be my go-to one for that. And then for Strats, I mean, honestly, I tend to whip out most Jimmy, a lot of Jimmy stuff. Whip out my Jimmy.
Whip out my Jimmy. No. That's why everybody was running out of the.
Everyone was like, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What's Dylan doing?
He's whipping out his Jimmy
again.
Yeah.
Or he's got a Strat again.
Yeah.
Oh no.
But yeah, no, it tends to be like Jimmy stuff. So like even his version of Manish Boy and what's that other one I'm always playing? Jungle. Play that one a lot too.
I do Born Under a Bad Sign.
Yeah, that's
that
yeah.
one's one
You
that I kind of
that one's your go-to octave one too.
For the octave stuff too. But it also kind of gives me that feel for how buzziness in that area.
I would say Going Down was at least for a long time that was one of your main ones.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
And Sharp Dressed Man. That's like your anything in a Les Paul kind of.
Anything on a Les Paul, I end up
yeah. Especially But yeah, that's a good question because I think everybody has that. So I'd be curious to see what Colin James is.
Yeah, what's your go-to song?
Yeah, and you too, Ben. What's yours? Well, anybody could really throw in on that one because I'm sure everybody's got to have like at least 3 songs that they almost always test first. Next one, Andy.
Andy Dion says, "You guys going to still have a performance space in there?"
So he's asking about the new space since the last video was about the new space. So yes, in this very room that we're in right now.
Yeah, this is basically going to be the performance room.
Yeah.
We'll have tester rooms for gear. We're going to have 2 up front, and then we're going to have one that's right near here. That's going to be a tester room and also like a lesson room too. But we're going to have this will be kind of a performance space. This is going to be what we're calling kind of like the media room. It's going to be a flex space. We're going to do some performance stuff, clinics hopefully, and group lesson type stuff.
As well as our video studio and
we'll do videos and demos in here. That's why we're starting to kind of be in here now with these videos so that we can just start kind of playing with the room and getting, like I said, the sound absorption in and futzing around, finding where we're going to do and certain things and set it up so that we have almost like different sets too.
Yeah. We basically want to try to make this one room serve as like 3 to 4 different rooms.
Because if we're not using it for a showroom, it needs to function. It needs to have a high functioning value.
Yes, yeah.
So because we could certainly fill this with guitars and make this another cool room for a showroom, but we decided to kind of try to get the media side of it, content and stuff like that out.
Yeah.
Because that's what we run into now is that we just don't have a space for anything.
Right. Yeah, and we're always having to do the setup and tear down and all that. So hopefully we're going to have this room all set up so that we can just pop in here whenever we want and do whatever we want while we're here without having to always take everything apart and put it all back together.
Yeah, everything that we'll need is already here. Some of it will already be set up, like
right.
Lights. We might have stuff that's already ready to go, and all we got to do is just flip a few switches, twiddle a couple knobs, and we're off and running.
Yeah, that's the goal.
So there we go.
All right, Professor Chaos was asking if there will be any flipside events in the near future, like the Vola ones we had done in prior years. We definitely have plans. We just I don't know if we have anything like on the books right now, just because things are kind of in flux right now. We've talked to a few people. So once we're able to actually do something, right, there will be events. Yes, it's just a matter of everything is so stinking up in the air with getting the permits to do the construction and all that kind of stuff. We don't
it's just there's too many variables right now, so I don't want to put anything into a schedule and say, yeah, we're definitely going to
Yeah, we don't want to overcommit and underdeliver, so.
Yeah, so once we start getting to a point where we can actually, start to put a timeline together that's relatively accurate or close, then we'll start figuring some stuff out. It's just, we don't know. We just don't know.
Yeah, everything's just a little too, like you said, up in the air for us to even pin anything down right now, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely we will, I mean, that's another big function of this room. We'll be doing events like that. We're hoping to do clinics, especially if like the RUPS guys ever want, because they're literally just down the street now. So if they ever want to do anything, we're hoping to do that stuff, but until we're actually in the building all the way, I don't know that anything's going to be happening until then. But I'm sure we'll do like some kind of opening event too. Ziggs is down here, by the way. He's very distracting.
Right. Yeah, we'll keep everybody in the loop with what's going on. I mean, you'll watch, obviously, if you watch the FAQs, you'll kind of keep in the loop there. Once we actually do get a little bit more, momentum going with some of this stuff, I want to do a vlog thing. It's just I don't want to do a vlog and then we don't do one for forever because nothing's happened. So we may see we'll probably start it sooner than later, because as we start to put this room together and as we start to get the warehouse together, at least we have something to talk about. We have something to show you. Otherwise, it's like, hey, look, it's the same
watch
old
this
shit.
paint dry.
Hey, yeah. I just painted this little square. Thanks for coming by.
Right, exactly.
And out.
Yeah. Hey, I ripped open this wall to find out what was behind it.
Right. So, yeah.
That's it. All right, the last one's actually a pretty big series of questions.
All right.
So Nothing Here's asking, in the past 2 decades, we've seen tons of innovation in regards to modeling amps, recording interfaces, plugins, all those types of things. However, I can only think of a few innovations done directly to the hardware of the guitar. So voicing options for Fishman pickups, low cut knob on the Reverends, Evertune bridges, and he said the ill-conceived auto tuners on the Gibsons. Yeah, everybody hated those.
Yeah.
What are some of the best and worst hardware innovations done on guitars and basses over the last few decades? What are some areas you wish manufacturers would focus on regarding the hardware on guitars and basses? So just to summarize that question is basically just any new innovations to the physical hardware of the guitars that's noteworthy. I feel like the companies keep trying. I just don't think that it's one of the
stick.
Yeah, because that's what I was gonna say. I don't think it's something. It's not that it's like a problem that doesn't need a solution, but like sometimes it sort of is, because at the end of the day, you have a huge faction of dudes that are perfectly fine with a bare bones stock Tele or a bare bones stock Strat or a bare bones stock Les Paul, and like they just want it to be that. They don't need it to be more than that.
It doesn't need a bunch of extra switches.
Right.
I mean, and because he's already, made mention, like as I was reading through the question, my brain went to Evertune. Mm-hmm. That was the first one you brought it up, but I think it's a really good.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a really
good piece of hardware.
Yeah, that's a very useful thing that is actually addressing a problem.
Yeah.
And I actually do think like the Fishman Fluent sets, that's like, especially on the Charvel Tele that I have, the Pro Mod, like I love that just because it literally covers, at least 9 different pickup sounds in terms of combos, all on the guitar itself. So like if I need to do the single coil stuff, it can do it pretty convincingly. If it needs to do the humbucker stuff, it does it, but it can do 2 different variations. Then you have the pickup selector switch, so you can get all those, different combos too. So to me, like that one's a big one that, doesn't really detract from like the guitar. Cause like I thought what was that pickup, that like revolving pickup thing that they did a few years back? I forgot what company, but it was essentially this apparatus like built into the guitar where it had different pickups that you would just rotate around and it would switch to a different pickup. And like I thought that was a cool idea, but I actually thought that was a better idea for pickup companies to sell pickups. Like almost as a
tester. You can see this one's brighter, that one's got more.
Right, because at the end of the day, most people are probably not gonna. It's just like a pedal, I think, with pickup. Like pickups to me are very similar to pedals. You're gonna find the one you like, and you're probably gonna stick with it for the most part.
Yeah, speakers are kind of the same way too, but we're getting off track.
Yeah, well, no, but I'm saying
we're getting off track.
This is a good discussion for like again, like I think once it goes too far is when people stop showing interest, or it's just alienates a whole faction of people that are just not. Because a lot of people, I mean, to me, like guitars, and a lot of people regard them as like like they like the classic aspect of it, even if it's not a classic one.
Too many options, like the Blues Hawk with the Variac switching thing.
Right.
Like it had a lot of cool options, but did you really need it? You're going to find the one or two that you like and kind of go with it. That's where Telly's kind of coming into play. It's like, yeah, it does this and it does it really well.
Right.
You know, so, but I mean, kind of going with Fishman, like the Fluence pickup stuff, those are great. Single coils, P90s, no hum, very cool. Even their bridges where they got the pizzos in them, where it could sound like an acoustic too, that's a super cool thing. I think S1 switching is cool on a Fender stuff.
Yeah, well, and even G&L kind of does that with the S500.
Yeah.
Where you open up that extra pickup combo.
When Fender did those cards, remember those?
Oh, yeah.
And it kind of changed I thought that was a pretty cool idea. The thing is people are like, come on, man.
Right.
You know, like I think what happens is in a case like that, everybody's like, wow, it's just more shit to buy to make a thing just sound like the way I want it. You know what I mean? So I thought it was a cool concept, but I don't know if you guys remember it, but Fender had a thing where you could put a card into like a Strat and change the sound of it. To like, hey, this sounds like Jeff Beck.
Right.
That was short-lived.
Yes, it was.
But it was kind of a cool idea.
Yeah. I mean, I thought that was better than like the Gibson tuner thing. Like that was stupid. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing though. Like again, I just don't think it's not that all guitar players are not going to go for those things, but there's such a huge faction of guitar players that just want their sound, and if they're going to get a different sound, they'll just get a different guitar.
Yeah,
like I think
don't give me an excuse to not buy another guitar.
Right, yeah, because like at the end of the day, I think that usually ends up being the case, rather than somebody trying to find like the one and only be all end all guitar for them. Because like you could do
it exists though. Really.
No,
I mean you could find the one that's your favorite.
Right. Well, and that was the thing. Like even with the Pro Mod Charvel, like if somebody said, hey, you know, you need to pick your most versatile guitar, and that's the one you should pick to show up to do whatever. Like if you were gonna jam, like that would probably be the one I'd normally pick because it's super reliable guitar, plays great, but those pickup sets I can pretty much navigate wherever I would want. So like those things, like those make sense, and it's not some weird contraption of like moving pickups. It's just still a normal guitar, just has an extra switch.
Take the cartridge out with the new cartridge.
Right, yeah, because it's like because I always thought that would be a cool idea if they ever did figure out a quick connect system for pickups. Like you just leave
they have it underneath.
Right, but like if you could have one where you could literally just snap it in and out, like that would be pretty cool. But again, that's more of just not that you're fixing something that doesn't need to be fixed, but that's sort of one of those things of, things are the way they are for reliability to a point.
I just say buy another guitar.
Yeah.
That's the answer.
Yeah. But I mean, honestly too, like there's reasons, that there's still classic Tellys being made, 70 some years later. It's like at the end of the day, sometimes you just need the thing to do that and that's it.
Yeah, just do the thing.
Yeah.
All right, so the last kind of part of that question says, what are some areas you wish manufacturers would focus on regarding hardware on guitars and basses? I mean, my biggest thing is just, I don't know. I mean, we have so many things that are out there. So like tuners, you have different grades of tuners. You have tuners with different ratios. So they, like, the way the gear is when it turns, half a turn is actually a real thing, and it's not.
That is a good point, though. Like Jackson, you have a whole guitar company that developed out of a need to fix hardware issues. Like that is actually a good, like that's a good example of where like something developed because of the insufficiencies of other like existing things. I mean, so to me, like
that's kind of hard. Like, what areas?
Well, yeah, because there's could they focus was it Steinberg or Strandberg, whatever ones that do like the ones that just the little tiny, like to me, like that's a guitar from like an engineer's perspective. Like that thing's been engineered to be a guitar, be minimalistic, take up the least amount of space, but at the same time, like
was a Telecaster when you think about it, wasn't it?
Well, yes, but it's like that thing is literally as small and compact as you could get a guitar, but at the same time there's so many people that would look at that and there's nothing necessarily inspiring about the shape of that guitar. Like it's really just purely function.
Yeah, oh, totally.
Whereas there's other guitars that you definitely buy and want to play because it feels differently, even if it's bulky. Like it's still like the feel of that particular instrument makes you play it. But
I mean, 335 is a prime example. It's a big guitar.
Right.
Not for everybody.
Right. But yeah, in terms of like what they should focus on, I mean,
I don't know.
I would say dialing. I mean, the hardware at the end of the day really is one of the big culprits. Like even
honestly, it's like good bridges and tuners are really
good bridges, good tuners,
such an important part.
Good pots, good switches, all those things. Like if there was a company that would, and there are a few, but if there are companies that would just stop messing around with any of the cheaper stuff and just only
Hipshot's a good company like that. I mean, I got 3 guitars with Hipshot tuners on them, and all those guitars are always sitting in tune.
Right.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They don't fluctuate. That's why, it's like my Tele Deluxe. I love the guitar, but I never stayed in tune right. I put it in the...
Right.
I put those in, Hipshots, and they're great.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's a tough question. We can go down the road.
Yeah, I mean, we could keep going and going on that one. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like in terms of focusing for manufacturers, I mean, I would say at the end of the day, the hardware really is always the thing. But again, there's a million companies that have already tried to address like Hipshot and Goto and all those companies that are already trying to fix.
And there's F.A.Q tone, that makes really good stuff too.
Well, Well, and some of that even makes the old companies reassess what they're doing because like until the locking tuner became like a pretty ubiquitous thing, Grover wasn't doing that. Now they have just as many as every other company. So. I mean, I think that's the other part of it too. Like that sort of shifts things. Is like if one company fully embraces something, it does start to become something that's more expected. Yeah, because like even with Reverend with the split tone control, like it's not anything that nobody's done before. Like people have thought of that since way back.
Yeah,
but
Gretch had that basically.
Yeah, but having it like across the board on all of your standard line instruments, like that was a smart idea, and now it's become the signature piece of Reverend. So I think there's definitely things other companies could figure out that would achieve similar things. Like there are things you can fix that don't have to be the way that old ones were, but at the same time, like if once you go too far, I think there is a threshold that people won't cross.
Yeah, they give them too many options. That's why I like the S1 switching kind of thing. Like, it's a nice
bonus feature that doesn't detract.
But it doesn't, right, exactly. So I think it's a nice option, but it's not cumbersome. It doesn't change everything.
Right.
You know what I mean? But because it's like, hey, here's a button on my knob.
Right. Doesn't take up space. Doesn't change the feel of the guitar too much. Yeah. It's just a nice bonus sound.
So I hope that answers the question. I don't know. We were kind of round.
Well, no, I mean, this was kind of I don't want to say it was it was kind of a long, ongoing question in terms of just a good discussion because, there's like a lot of stuff that hasn't really stuck around in terms of like the innovate, like you said, with like that card, like that was a smart idea. Even the ability to just swap out, like if you could put in like treble bleeds or different capacitors without having to redo the whole thing.
Right.
Like I think that would be cool. But again,
you got to get people to buy into that.
Yeah, you put chips in a guitar and like all these dudes are immediately turned off. They're like, nope, I'm not doing it. Like so.
Yeah. Or I mean, even the Fishman Fluent stuff. Even though they sound great. There's a bunch of people that are like, I'm not plugging my guitar, and that's stupid.
Yeah, I'm not playing. Or even
though you got to plug it in once.
Well, even the guys that just are just straight no active pickups, because like for a long time, EMGs were obviously the main active pickup everybody knew. But like now that Fishman is doing what they're doing with the sets, and it's as convincing as it is for doing the PAF sounds, like there's no reason to like frown on all active pickups just because you had a bad run-in with one.
Right.
Yeah.
I agrees.
Yeah. But yeah, that was a good question.
I think that's it, right?
Yep, that's it for this week.
Wrapping it up for today.
Yep.
All right, well, we thank everybody for sticking around. Please like, subscribe, do all that stuff. All the other stuff that you beg for.
Yeah.
On YouTube videos.
Hitting the like button and the subscribe, those two are the big ones.
Yeah, come check us out on Instagram if you're in
if none of you guys are following us on Instagram,
over there.
We have good pictures with snappy, funny, not snappy, that's a shitty word. Funny comments. Whatever.
Give me a beat.
We got totally beat. We got dead nuts whack comments. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So check us out on Instagram if you're on the Instagrams.
Yeah.
All right. And we'll catch you guys on the flip side. All right.
Are we centered?
I don't fucking know.
Close
I'm
enough.
certainly not centered right now. Once I hit the liquor store,
Then I'll be centered,
I'm gonna
yeah.
be centered as fuck.
Once I hit the liquor store and blast some Sabbath, I'll be fine.
I plan on being centered as fuck by 7. It'll be fucking dead nuts whack.
Dead nuts whack.
I'm gonna be in whack.
100% certified whack.
Whack.